Parkinson's disease. I told Tracy the news. In sickness and in health, I remember her whispering.
This week's best new movie is streaming on Apple TV. Still is the biopic about Michael J. Fox, his career, and his recent struggle with Parkinson's disease. The man is still quite charming, but it's the insider look at how he's fighting to keep control over his body that makes this documentary so intriguing.
Are you familiar with the concept of hypnotics?
Hypnotics.
Hypnotics have the ability to influence the brain.
Ben Affleck stars in Hypnotic, a film that wants to be a low-budget, science fantasy, Inception-like thriller. The story of a police detective searching for his kidnapped daughter has some interesting ideas, but the story's all over the place and filled with tons of plot holes. You have to be hypnotized to think that Hypnotic was anything other than a mediocre movie.
I'm gonna be the champ. I just want to race.
Rally Road's Racers is the latest from Viva Kids. The story of some cute animated characters racing their souped-up cars along the Silk Route. Not screened for critics, this one looks like it might appeal to very young kids, but not anybody else.
I think we should all go to Italy.
Italy? Whoa.
We'll make it Biv's bachelorette.
Finally, the book club gals are back in theaters for their next chapter. This time they're heading off on an Italian-flavored adventure. These are very talented actresses, so it's no surprise that Book Club 2 gives you a little bit of comedy, a little bit of drama, some nice Italian scenery, and a whole lot of older female friendship feels.
It's a bachelorette party. You know what that means?
We go see naked men. What's the protocol here? Where do I stuff the dollar bills?
And that's what's new this weekend in the movies. I'm Sean McBride, the movie guy.
All right, well, it is Friday. See the guy next to me, you know what that means. Sean McBride, the movie guy, is here. We've got some movies to talk about and get you ready for the weekend, which I would have to assume over the past couple days, lots of folks probably consuming plenty of movies with the rain that we saw.
Perhaps, yeah. And
I am one.
And honestly, and this weekend, I mean, it's better now, but it's Mother's Day, and so, you know, there is one movie you could take your mom to after you take her to brunch, and then
there you go.
take her to a
It's
movie.
a good idea.
I'll be honest with you, it is the weekend in between Guardians of the Galaxy and Fast and the Furious.
I see.
So Hollywood's going, let's throw some stuff out there, but we don't have high expectations for anything here. And if I'm being honest, I don't think they're great either, but they are interesting. So let's
Okay,
take
so
it
just
from
kind of softballs here to get us to the next week. And since it is Mother's Day, you got a good one to take mom to?
So I would say the best one is probably the Book Club chapter, the next chapter. And the Book Club, if you remember, this is a movie from, I want to say 2018. It started this new genre where you find these older actresses who are just fabulous and they know what they're doing, and you put four of them together and they go on a mini adventure. We saw this in the Book Club, obviously, but also in 80 for Brady earlier this year.
Yeah.
And so here it is. There's these, you know, it's Candice Bergen, it's Diane Keaton, it's Jane Fonda, it's Mary Steenburgen. I mean, it's a wonderful group of women who know how to tell a joke and do a little emotion and stuff.
Sure.
This is a very slight movie. Okay, they're going on a mild adventure. There's a little bit of peril, but it's never really, you know, although they do end up in jail at one point, which is, but it's one of those things, they're in jail, but they're really only in jail so that we can have a moment for them and have a heart-to-heart scene where they can't escape each other because they're locked up.
Got to set it up somehow.
And then the next morning they're, you know, they're all good and we forget that they were in jail the night before. So look, it is, I like these actresses. I would watch them doing almost anything. I do think that there are some moments where I thought, oh, that was your joke, and that fell a little flat at the beginning in particular, but particularly when they get towards the end and they're having the little heart-to-heart talks. I mean, there's a scene between Diane Keaton and Jane Fonda. It's like, yeah, that's what we're here for. Those are two dear friends, and it's not about romance. This movie is ostensibly, you know, they're on a bachelorette trip because she's getting, Jane Fonda's character's finally getting married.
I gotcha.
But that's not the love. The love is the love between women. It's girl friendships. And I think moms in particular will really quite appreciate that.
Okay, I was going to say, this gave me very much like Steel Magnolia, Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, with all the, you know, the women kind of loving each other, being together.
Exactly, that's the most important thing. And there are men in this movie, but they are not the point of this movie.
Correct. I was going to say, that is a good one for moms because my mom loves Steel Magnolia. So that might be a good one to take your mom to this weekend. Maybe you don't want to take mom to the movie theater. What else you got?
Hypnotic, also in theaters, and this is a Robert Rodriguez film. It's a Ben Affleck starrer.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure what's going on with Ben Affleck. He makes really good movies like Air, but then he also does things like Deep Water last year and Hypnotic this one, which I think is just a mess. Look, it's as if Robert Rodriguez watched the movie Inception and said, "Oh, that's interesting. Can I try that? Oh, I don't have the budget. Well, I'm going to try it anyway." You know, and it's got some interesting ideas. Ben Affleck plays a police officer. He took his daughter to the park one day. She was abducted. They never found her, so his life has fallen apart. You know. Well, later on we find out that he's on a stakeout for a guy that's going to rob a bank. And he wants to get into a safe deposit box. Well, Ben Affleck's character gets there first, and when he opens the safe deposit box, it's a picture of his daughter. Ooh, what's going on? That's an interesting idea to pique your interest, but it's got all this science fantasy mumbo jumbo in it, where the guy, the William Fichtner character, who's the bank robber there, he's able to hypnotize people just by whispering at them. He says, "You should take me to the bank vault," and the teller takes him to the bank vault. You know, and so the idea is, what's going on here? Why is in this scene he's saying, you know, "Hey, freeze," and he just tells the other two police officers, "No, this other guy's the bad guy," and they turn their guns on the good guy. So what's going on here? I didn't care. You know, it's a lot of the screenplay is just not well done. There's lots of plot holes, and problematically, it starts out about a police officer looking for his daughter, and then we forget all about that in the middle until the end, you know, and stuff, and it just doesn't connect. I do think there's some nice moments here. I do think there's some nice visual elements here. I don't think that this movie works, so I think the problem is in the writing.
Okay, I was going to say also whispering, that's like the way he hypnotizes.
Well, he just tells you, you know.
Okay.
So.
You could have done something more impressive, I think,
Exactly.
but whatever. Also coming to theaters.
Also in theaters, we have one called Rally Road Racers, which is the one I did not see. And I was saying it wasn't screened for critics, but I noticed it was screened for some international critics. This is a film that's purposefully designed to be something that will play in China. It's got a lot of you know, South Asian themes to it, and the acting cast and whatnot. Basically, it's I think the main character is supposed to be a loris or I don't know. It's a little monkey loris type character or whatever. He wants to race. He makes a bet with Mr. Frog, who's voiced by John Cleese, and they're going to do on this 200-mile road race along the Silk Route. And so it's just cute characters. They look like the characters in the movie Sing. It's from Viva Kids.
Yeah, I was going to say that's like, I was exactly thinking the same thing.
Yeah. And they're funny characters, and they're going to get in cars and go fast. I remember when I took one of my nephews to see Cars back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
He was too young to understand the plot. He didn't care. Funny characters, going fast, yay, you know.
Right.
And so if you got young kids, I think they'll like this. You know, it does have an okay voice cast, both of an Asian and American variety. So it's, like I say, it's a film that's designed to play in international markets, and it's a film that's designed to play on home streaming later on.
Okay, but in theaters this weekend
But
first.
in theaters this weekend, yeah.
Okay, and then the last one is what, Still?
Still, that's the one that
Oh,
we were talking about last
correct,
week with Dan.
yes.
So this is Michael J. Fox movie. And look, Michael J. Fox, obviously, he was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease in 1991. And this is a story of his career. So it's a biopic about how he broke into Hollywood. And that's fine, especially if you're a fan of his.
Yeah.
You know, if you were there for the Growing Pains days or the Back to the Future, that's all well and good. But the Parkinson is really the more interesting part of this. And I love that we watch him with his trainer. And there's a lot of time where the trainer's just telling him to slow down, make sure you've got your body in the right position, make sure you're picking up your feet here. And we watch Michael J. Fox fall flat on his face repeatedly, and he gets back up. And I appreciate that about him. And Michael J. Fox has always been that guy that runs really fast everywhere. Right. And it's hard for him because obviously running very fast is not something he can do. There's a little bit about his love story. You know, he met his wife, she's an actress, and about how, you know, in sickness and health, well, this is the sickness
ultimate
part of
test,
it.
yeah.
And so doing a really good job. I think it's a nice look at this man and his struggle in the face of Parkinson's disease. Particularly if you're a fan of him, I think that's great. But I think it's a really well-made documentary. That's on Apple TV+.
Okay, could be very informative if you like that. And I know also this weekend,
Boomtown Film Festival.
Oh, yeah, going on.
And look, Boomtown Film, we don't get a lot of film festivals here in Southeast Texas, but they have expanded this thing, so you can go to the Jefferson Theater tonight, tomorrow, and see movies. Also the Texas Energy Museum. I've actually been assigned to work at the Art Museum because there's panel discussions. And so there's a screen, we're going to read the winning screenplay, but there's also a fight choreography. I mean, things that you may not think about, but if you're interested in filmmaking, come see the panels. Come see the films. Tomorrow night at the Jefferson Theater, we'll have the award ceremony. I'm the MC, so I'll be handing out some trophies, and it's kind of nice to support filmmakers, the 48-hour film race guys, which are the local kids. They have to make a movie in 48 hours. That's a wonderful exercise. I've done those a couple times, and I've always had a lot of fun. And they're always, they're kind of silly, but they're also so much fun, and you appreciate the energy there. So come support local filmmaking in Southeast Texas at the Jefferson Theater, Art Museum, Texas Energy Museum, Jazz and Jokes. They've got a full music lineup this time too, so there's plenty to do.
My gosh, yeah.
Yeah, come on down, check us out. Boomtownfest.org is the details.
Okay, well there you go. That's a look at not just your movies that are hitting the theaters and streaming, but also local opportunity for you to go out and enjoy and explore Southeast Texas. As always, we thank you very much, Sean, and we will see you later on next week.